So my name is Annie, and we're going to be talking about what is the gospel and what does it look like to be a disciple of Jesus in your own life. So when you're looking at the gospel, it's not just the first 4 books of the Bible. The gospel is the entirety of the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. Now, originally the first 4 books in the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they're known as the Gospels, and they do hold an important aspect in telling us what exactly the gospel entails. And it entails that Jesus came down as a man to earth in virgin birth, and that he committed his 30s to teaching. He started his ministry, and then he did die on the cross, and he rose from the dead. And he did all this in an effort to show us his great love, his great mercy, his great grace, and that he did fulfill the Old Testament, and saying that he came down and he fulfilled all the promises he would fulfill, and saying that he wanted to save us, give us the chance for salvation through the ultimate lamb, the ultimate sacrifice. So instead of having to make sacrifices of our own, he was that. So now all we have to do is ask for repentance. And then that's when you have to say, well, what kind? It's not that you're saved one time, you say a prayer and you move on with your life. It's that you have to say every single day, you know that you've fallen short of God's love. You've fallen short of ever trying to make it on your own, but that through Jesus and through his love and through him dying on the cross, we have the ability to say, well, now we can have a personal relationship with Jesus. But we have to understand that every single day, whether we sin or whether we're saved, we're still going to have to make that commitment. And when you look at that, then that ties into being a disciple of Jesus and what it looks like in your own life. When you look at how Jesus lived his life and the rest of people in the Bible, you see that they have a certain idea of what it means to reach out to others. Because once we're saved, we find our identity in Jesus. We find it in what he says is true, and then we can go out into the world. Because the whole fact of the New Testament is that they're building relationships with people outside of the Jewish law. They're building it with every single person of all single races. And that's especially what Paul does. And Jesus, he goes to all these different people who are originally shunned from the church. When you see him, he invites himself to them. And he says, let me join you. Because he gets to know their heart. And that's what we're supposed to do. We get to know the hearts of people, so when we begin to build those bridges, Christ can begin to change their heart. But it's up to us to go out there and love them, specifically for the sole purpose that they were created by Jesus, just like we were. That answers in some sense of what the gospel is and what it means to be a disciple of Christ.